Hey ladies and gentlemen, Christoph the Polish Geek, and welcome to a video game review. And this time I'm finally reviewing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But first I'll say this will be my last video for the next 3 weeks, because like last time I'm going away again on vacation, but this time to France to visit my sister, niece and nephew. So I'll not be around for like 3 or 4 weeks. So yes, that means again no videos, but this time, like last time I was away for like 2 weeks it turned out, but this time I'll be away for more than that. So yes, for at least 3 weeks there will be no new videos. So yes, this is my last review for the next 3 weeks, but I think it will be worth it. So returning to Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, this game is phenomenal, it's fabulous, it's magnificent, it's possibly the best Legend of Zelda game, which says a lot considering that there is not a single bad Zelda game. I mean, except for the trashy CDI games that AVGN talked about, like Zelda Wand of Gamelon or Link the Faces of Evil, but no one gives a shit about those. Because overall, Legend of Zelda franchise is a masterpiece. Even the worst Zelda games are better than vast majority video games out there. But Tears of the Kingdom is possibly the best Zelda game ever, which really says a lot, because I always thought Breath of the Wild was a little overrated. While amazing game, I felt like it excelled when it came to open world and world building and freedom, but when it came to actual story, I felt it was a bit lacking, and I always preferred Ocarina of Time. But Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has everything amazing that Breath of the Wild had, plus the incredible story of Ocarina of Time. Hence why I'm going to as far as say this is likely the best Zelda game ever. I mean, Ocarina of Time still has this old school magic to it, but Tears of the Kingdom certainly at the very least gives it a run for its money. But Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is an amazing game. It's fabulous. So, let's dive in. First, let's make it clear that the game is very overwhelming. Hence why it took me so long to get this review for you. The game is so massive and requires a huge commitment, something that many people don't really have time to do. And I doubt I'll be replaying this game anytime soon. It's just so time consuming and I don't have that much time either. But if you can commit to beating this masterpiece, it is totally worth it. At the same time, I suggest to specifically commit to playing this game and not play anything else, unless you are a dedicated gamer who plays video games for life. The story of the game is amazing. I always thought Breath of the Wild had excellent open world, but the story was a little bit lacking. Not saying it was bad, it was still a very good story, but with the Zelda game, I had a little more expectations for the story, since there were games like Ocarina of Time and Skyward Sword, which had super amazing stories. The story is very classic Zelda. Link has to rescue Hyrule from Ganon and Zelda goes missing. Time travel is involved as Zelda is stuck in the past before the creation of Hyrule, and we explore various flashbacks as we uncover the story and see where it leads to. And I also love very nice callbacks to Breath of the Wild, and everybody in the game knows Zelda and they want to help her, which shows how wonderful princess she is and how she helped everyone so much. And now everybody knows Zelda and wants to help her. And there are also some interesting unexpected plot twists as well. The cast of characters is awesome. We have Zelda herself, of course, and I love how this game gives her so much more screen time. She and Link are icons of Legend of Zelda, and of course, Link himself returns too, and as always, he's the protagonist you play as. And most importantly, Ganondorf himself returns as the main villain, and he's so awesome. In Breath of the Wild, it was just Calamity Ganon, but here, it's real Ganon himself, and what Zelda game would be complete without Ganon? And I also love that we get a Demon King form of Ganon, which is very much a true form of Ganon in this case. And this is basically Demise from Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword was always one of my favorite Zelda games, and I always loved Demise and his design, and I always thought that Demise design was even cooler than Ganondorf's design. And I love how designing true form of Ganon, known as Demon King in this game, is identical to that of Demise. That is an awesome attention callback to Skyward Sword, and I love it so much. There are also lots of awesome companions you get on your journey, like Yunobo from Goron City, and Prince Zidon from Zora's Domain, or Rishu from Gerudo Desert, and they all give Link great help, and they are very helpful, and you feel like you're not alone, but have companions who support you, and the various different abilities those companions have that help you are really awesome and very helpful in the game. Open world in this game is fantastic, and I love the Nintendo graphics. I just love Nintendo graphics and style, but combined with an epic open world, the type of thing you'd mostly expect from Western RPGs like The Witcher 3, Skyrim, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You know what I mean? Admittedly, things that now I'm talking about could very easily be said about Breath of the Wild as well. I love various different locations. I love the green scenery of the whole land of Hyrule. Of course, Zora's Domain, Goron City, and Gerudo Desert return too. And Zora's Domain is full of water, while Goron City is an underground cave with lots of fire. And Gerudo Desert is a desert, of course, but we also have a Gerudo town, which kind of gives me Middle Eastern vibes. And there are also stables scattered around Hyrule. In those stables you can rent a horse or board one, for example, and you can talk to people and collect various different items. And there are caves as well where you can hunt for various items. And there are also lots of interesting side quests you can do while talking to people. And we also have the dungeons. Dungeons were always some of my very favorite things in Zelda games, and I really miss them in Breath of the Wild. But this game has really amazing dungeons. They are somewhat shorter from Ocarina of Time dungeons, but with the game so massive, it makes perfect sense. The attention to detail in this game is simply excellent. Like Breath of the Wild had already lots of attention to detail, but I feel this game probably has even more, which is a huge achievement. Like, it really takes a lot of talent to give so much attention to detail, like in this game, and in Breath of the Wild before it, but in this game even more so. You can do so many things that before that people would never expect to do in the Nintendo games. Puzzles in this game are wicked creative, and the unique thing about them is that there are various different ways to get creative with them and help yourself. Almost all the other Zelda games, and most video games in general that have puzzles, require a very specific way to solve a puzzle, but not Tears of the Kingdom. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom gives you so many various abilities and tools that you can easily get creative with them and puzzles and solve them in various different ways. Some of those ways I'm not even sure if game developers thought about. It's also a lot of fun to switch armors, and some armors have different abilities. Like Zora armor has this awesome ability of swimming up the waterfall. It's so much fun. One of the biggest problems I had with Breath of the Wild was the boss battles, but this game thankfully fixed those mistakes, because in Breath of the Wild almost every boss was just different form of Calamity Ganon, but this game truly gives us real various diverse boss battles like many of the past Zelda games, and this is how it should be. And they are very epic boss battles. some of the best boss battles we ever got in Zelda, which says a lot. By the way, I'm really sad and regretful that I didn't vote on this game as my most anticipated video game of 2023. I remember how, like, back in December, I believe, I voted for, like, 2022 Game Awards, and for some reason, I don't know what came up to me, but I picked Final Fantasy 16 as my most anticipated game of 2023. And newsflash, I haven't even touched Final Fantasy 16 yet, but this game is already my favorite game of the year. So yeah, I don't know what came into me, but... And the game I anticipate the most, I'll go with Final Fantasy 16 because I'm a Final Fantasy fan in general, so I'll go with this one. Yeah, this is the game I should have voted on in my most anticipated games of 2023. Oh well, at least I'm glad I beaten this masterpiece. Last thing I want to address in this review, and this is more about the Legend of Zelda franchise as a whole, not specifically about this game, but the last thing I want to address is, do not try to think how this game fits in the timeline with the whole series. Zelda games are generally standalone games that vaguely reference each other in the form of distant sequels and prequels. As I always told people that the timeline is so convoluted that it's best to just enjoy each game as its own standalone adventure. Nintendo was always about gameplay first and story second, but because the lore of every Zelda game was so rich that it always seemed like there was a need for a game specifically about that lore. Hence why so many Zelda games are prequels, and very distant prequels, rather than sequels, and why timeline is so convoluted. Ocarina of Time even introduced split timelines, which made everything more confusing, actually, and hence why it is obvious that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are almost like soft reboots. If they actually take place in the same continuity as the previous games or not, isn't very clear, but generally the timeline is very complex anyway, so I suggest not to think about it too hard. And take it from me, someone who very much cares about timeline and cohesive continuity. Overall, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I said it and I will say it again. It's fabulous, it's magnificent, it's a masterpiece. And this game is a perfect example of why I love Nintendo so much. Like, Nintendo is one of those companies that's still amazing, and I love Nintendo so much. And this game is their most modern masterpiece. Because this game combines everything amazing and best about all the other Zelda games and fuses it all into one package. That's how I would describe it. It takes everything amazing about Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, and other Zelda games, and puts it all basically into one single package. And as a result, you have likely the best Zelda game in the history of Zelda, which says a lot. And which game do I prefer, this one or last year's Elden Ring? It's a really tough choice, hard to say. I can't really say if I prefer Tears of the Kingdom or Elden Ring, but I can say for certain that Tears of the Kingdom did everything for me that Elden Ring did last year, and both games are phenomenal, fantastic games, and I can't really say which one I like more. At least for now, I can't, because both of those games are simply a masterpiece. And now that I've beaten Tears of the Kingdom, I think I can get back to playing Hogwarts Legacy, and maybe I'll finally someday have a long promised review of Hogwarts Legacy for you guys. But then again, I don't know if I'll beat it till October, especially that I just said in the beginning of the video, I'm going away for like at least 3 weeks, and then in October we have Assassin's Creed Mirage coming. So I know in October I will likely focus on playing Assassin's Creed Mirage instead, but for now at least I will try to get back to playing Hogwarts Legacy when I come back from vacation, because I'm going away to visit my sister in France like tomorrow. But So let's conclude it. Tears of the Kingdom, fantastic, fabulous, phenomenal masterpiece, and probably the best Zelda game in the history of Zelda, which says a lot considering how magnificent this franchise is overall. But I love Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and this is certainly a best game of the year and very much gives last year's Elden Ring the run for its money, even though I don't know quite which one I prefer more yet. But press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll talk to you like 3 or 4 weeks when I get back from vacation in France. Talk to you then, bye!